Hey, what's going on everyone? It's your boy, the one and only, and I am back with a heavily requested video. I finally decided to bite the bullet and buy not one, but two Hermes leather bands. The reason I've been holding off on them is obviously due to the cost factor. I mean, seriously, with two of these costing close to $800 after tax, you can get yourself 200 chicken sandwiches from Popeyes. The hype should have died down, and hopefully your local Popeyes doesn't run out like they did a few months ago. Or, you know, $800 covers roughly 72% of the cost of a MacBook Air. Just let that sink in. Anyway, without wasting any more time, let's dive straight into the unboxing. So the unboxing for these differs slightly from the regular bands sold by Apple, as you can clearly see from the Home Depot logo orange color. This orange color, upon doing some minor research for this video, is apparently an integral part of the Hermes identity. They will sell you on some BS saying this orange represents wisdom and serenity, but don't be fooled folks, it's just an Apple Watch box in orange along with some Hermes branding. The unboxing experience is a bit bougier than your regular unboxings for Apple Watch bands though, as you'll see. The Hermes box itself has that plastic wrapping around it, which is more reminiscent of an actual Apple product rather than an accessory. So pull the tab that aids in making this as simple as an unboxing as can be, and you'll notice that the box itself has some texture to it. It's nice to see that when paying nearly $400 for a watch band, you at least get a high quality box. Another aspect to this unboxing that is different is that the box lifts up rather than having to dig in the box from one end and remove the contents that way. Doing it this way, by lifting the portion of the box up to reveal the contents inside, is definitely more aesthetically pleasing, but also creates a sense of luxury, almost like you're unboxing a high-end watch. Once you lift the top portion off, you're presented with this long microfiber pouch with Apple Watch branding along with Hermes branding, and is as soft as a baby's buttocks. You have two microfiber lined tabs flanking both sides, so lift that up and start unfolding the same exact way you had to unfold them Benjamins to pay for such an experience. On one portion of the pouch is your literature, complete with your product and warranty information guide, a quick start guide on how to attach the new bands to your Apple Watch, and a nice note here saying designed by Apple in California and Hermes in Paris. Because I have two of the single tour bands, the unboxing experience is 100% identical. But we didn't come here for the literature packet. Tucked in individual pouches are your two separate components that make up your brand new single tour Hermes band. And man, immediately feeling these, my first impression is just how soft and supple this leather is. It feels amazing in the hand, and those stitches are of superb quality. You don't get much else inside the box, but I must admit, the orange Hermes color with the dark gray trimming surrounding it makes for a very eye-pleasing souvenir. So then why in the world are these bands so damn expensive? Well, the Hermes brand has a long-standing history of being a luxury brand. Us simps probably won't understand, but in the best way I can put it, Hermes typically aims at the more affluent side of consumers. Think huge names like Saks Fifth, Louis Vuitton, and Gucci. While that's all cool and everything like that, your bank account will probably not be so Gucci after this purchase. Fortunately though, these bands feel and scream luxury. The stitching on these bands is of impeccable quality, and the leather itself feels top-notch, really supple, soft, and extremely comfortable once on the wrist. Couple that with the fact that Apple already has some pretty insane prices for their watch bands, with their cheapest sport bands coming in at $50 a pop, and you are in for the finesse of the century. Introducing the single tour band by Hermes with a starting price of $339. So Hermes follows suit seasonally with the typical band refreshes, offering different colors and more unique designs than Apple's standard array of leather bands. The cool thing with these is that they do also come in a variety of different styles. You have the single tour bands, the double tour bands, which are the pinnacle of extra. In case the Hermes brand isn't bougie enough for you, go ahead and snag the double tour so everyone can ask you why in the fuck your leather band wraps around your wrist twice. And other styles, like the deployment buckle, which makes absolutely no sense to me, as those deployment buckle bands come in at $539 a pop, or a typical car payment for your average brand new vehicle. But hey, again, like I said, these bands and Hermes in general aren't aiming for your average consumer. They aim at customers who are well versed with luxury brands and whose income far surpass those of the average person. It's crazy how expensive these bands are, but I promise, as soon as you have one of these in your hands, or rather, should I say on your wrist, then you'll still feel ripped off and have extreme buyer's remorse. These two bands that I have here are the single tore style Infauve Burenia, aka classic leather brown, and the Ancre Baton Swift leather, which is this really cool dual color design featuring this rich royal blue color with a very light beige color. Sorry if I completely butchered the pronunciation of the names. There are other great color combinations, but I find this blue on beige is the best. It looks extremely sharp and stylish and looks amazing while wearing a nice polo with jeans. It looks classy when you need it, but can also be rocked with more casual clothing. Taking a close look at the stainless steel buckle, you will see the name Hermes etched into the metal and is pretty subtle. You'd really have to focus in closely to be able to see it. The pin insert and holes within the leather to secure on your wrist are smaller than I imagined. The regular classic buckle bands by Apple have much bigger holes within the leather to fasten on and are much bigger and wider than these here, but isn't that big of a deal. As a matter of fact, the smaller holes adds to the simplicity of the band and makes it less obtrusive and gives a cleaner appearance. As mentioned previously, the stitching is extremely clean. The stitching is way more apparent on the brown leather and contrasts really well against the really rich brown color and is hidden more on the Swift leather variant. Speaking of the Ancre Swift leather, the design on it reminds me of a tattoo sleeve for some reason. For a lack of a better term, it's really dank and really unique. You'll very rarely ever see any of these out in the wild, kind of like finding a shiny Entei roaming in the wild in Pokemon. The inserts where you attach the band to the watch are made of stainless steel so that they match exceptionally well on the stainless steel casing of the Apple Watch and are designed to fit all models of the Apple Watch. Just be careful as some colors and styles are made exclusively for the smaller 40mm watch and others being exclusive only to the larger 44mm casing. Why is this the case? I don't know, dude. I wasn't at the meeting. If you take the stainless steel lugs off and examine them closely, you'll see both ends say made for Apple Watch, along with two screws located immediately to the right and left of each lug, presumably to reinforce the durability of each band. Additionally, you have these two things here which I never found the correct term for, but again, through the power of the internet and doing some research, I found out that these are called keepers. Weird, I know, I never really thought these things had a name. Anyway, the keeper closer to the buckle is fastened into place and does not move, while the other one is a free loop, giving you more flexibility depending on how big your wrists are and how much extra leather is hanging off. If we look at the underside of the band, we see they all are mostly this tannish classic leather color. On one end, you have some random letters. I guess it's some kind of way of identifying each band, maybe kind of sort of like a serial number. While on the same end, the opposite side of the buckle says stainless steel. If we look at the other end of the band, we see Hermes Paris bracelet, made in France, printed onto the leather. If it makes you feel any better about dropping all that cash on these bands, Hermes says they are handmade by artisans in France from buttery smooth Burenia leather. Burenia is considered pretty rare and is of super high quality calf leather. Needless to say, with having such expensive leather on your wrist, I would highly advise you stay away from any form of liquids. Never submerge your Hermes leather bands fully in water. Accidentally jump into a pool while having your Hermes leather band on? Game over, bro. Might as well burn 3 Benjamins. If you're like me and check the weather every morning, plan accordingly and switch out to a more water resistant band like the regular fluoroelastomer sport bands on rainy days. Accidents happen, of course, so you need to take the necessary precautions to ensure your leather is protected. Apple advises you to wipe the leather portions with a non-abrasive lint-free cloth, and if necessary, lightly dampen the cloth with fresh water, with the key word being lightly, just enough to get some moisture in there to help soak up any stains caused by other liquids or even dirt. I would also strongly advise against taking these bands to the gym. As comfortable as they are, your nasty sweat will inevitably be soaked into the bands and not only make them stink, but also may discolor them from the oils of your skin. So in the end, what you want to know is, are these bands worth it? Do you want my honest answer, or do you guys want me to lie to you? You already know how I do. I would never lie to you guys. Heck no. Do you know how far $339 can go? I don't want to take away from the quality and pure luxury of the bands though. Again, as I stated, these bands just aren't for your typical user who buys aftermarket $4 bands on Amazon that crumble and fray after 3 days of use. Hermes is a brand associated with luxury and clout. The fact Apple and Hermes teamed up to make these bands is quite intriguing. Setting the price aside, these bands are super dope, look extremely clean, and flat out look really nice overall. Would I buy every color in their collection? Absolutely not. I'd say if you're a true Apple Watch band lover like myself and obsess over every new seasonal release, you at least need one Hermes band in your collection. It'll likely be your favorite, no joke, but still, this is way too much money to reasonably justify, especially for such a small amount of leather. But hey, we all know how Apple is at this point. If you have the money for it, you won't be disappointed. But if you have to second guess yourself and consider if these bands are worth the price, then honestly, these bands aren't for you. Again, keep Hermes at the back of your mind and realize Hermes is a luxury brand. And these single tours are their cheapest entry into their line of Apple Watch bands. If you guys want to see full in-depth reviews just like this one for the double tour and deployment buckle, leave a comment down below letting me know which style you'd like to see next and what color. Ultimately, I think 99% of customers will never even bother buying these bands, but for the few that do, you're in for a huge treat. I hope you guys found this video useful. Reviewing watch bands is one of my favorite things to do on this channel, so if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button as I review every single band that is released seasonally, from the sport bands to the leather loops to the Nike sport bands. Make sure to hit that bell notification as well, as we are soon due for the spring 2020 release of new colors and new styles. But with all of that being said, guys, I hope you all have a wonderful day. Keep on destroying that like button as it helps the channel out a lot. If you're an Apple Watch bandaholic like me, click on my playlist for other reviews on all the current styles of Apple Watch bands as well as the seasonal releases. Alright guys, that's been it for me. I'm clocking out of this one, but I can't wait to catch you all in my next video. Peace!